All right, let's just dive right in. We're unpacking a thesis on AI that is absolutely reshaping the conversation, from San Francisco all the way to DC. And the core argument? It's that most of the world is just completely unprepared for what's barreling towards us this decade. We're talking about a change that's going to be bigger, faster, and more world-altering than almost anyone realizes. And right now, if you're in San Francisco, you can feel it in the air. The ambition around building AI infrastructure has just exploded. The conversation is no longer about billions of dollars. It's about trillions, with a T. People are seriously planning out trillion-dollar compute clusters. Now, this isn't just hype. This is a mobilization of industrial power on a scale we haven't seen in generations. And here's the crucial point. The race to build artificial general intelligence, or AGI, hasn't just started, it's in a full-on sprint. So how do we even begin to get a handle on this incredible, blistering pace of change? Well, the source material gives us a really powerful way to think about it, by counting the ohms. An OM, or order of magnitude, is basically our yardstick for progress here. You can think of it as a 10x leap in the effective power we're throwing at these AI models. And once you start tracking these leaps, the trend lines pointing to the future become, well, shockingly clear. So what do these abstract ohms actually look like in the real world? Well, look at this. In just 4 years, we went from GPT-2, which was kind of like a preschooler, barely stringing sentences together, to GPT-4, which is like a genuinely smart high schooler, acing AP exams and writing complex code. That jump in capability is just staggering. And this incredible leap wasn't just about throwing bigger computers at the problem. Sure, raw compute power gave us a 100x boost, but then breakthroughs in algorithms gave us another 100x on top of that. And then there's this idea of unhobbling. Basically, we figured out better ways to train the models, unlocking potential that was hiding there the whole time. Each one of these things multiplied the others. So here we are at the central question of this entire thesis. If we take that same massive preschooler to high schooler leap and we do it again over the next 4 years, where does that put us? The projection is honestly startling, but it's also alarmingly plausible. AGI, a system with the expertise of a PhD-level human, possibly by 2027. But here's the thing. Reaching human-level AGI isn't the finish line. Nope. According to this thesis, it's actually the starting gun for something way, way more dramatic. What's called an intelligence explosion. The logic behind this is actually pretty simple, but it is incredibly powerful. The moment we create a machine that can truly think and reason like a human, that machine can then join us in the project of designing even better thinking machines. Suddenly, progress isn't limited by the speed of human brains anymore. And that kicks off a recursive feedback loop. Imagine human-level AGIs automating AI research, taking what would have taken human scientists a decade and compressing it into a single year. This rapid self-improvement is what ignites the intelligence explosion, launching us from human-level AI to a vastly superhuman AI at a speed that is almost impossible for us to comprehend. This quote, all the way from 1965, just nails the gravity of this moment. The creation of a machine that is smarter than its creators, that's a singular event in human history. It's a technological threshold that you can only cross one time. Okay, so what does it physically take to build one of these machines? This isn't just happening in the cloud somewhere. It requires an absolutely unprecedented industrial mobilization. This is where the abstract idea of superintelligence crashes into the hard reality of concrete, steel, and our power grids. And the numbers, they're just staggering. A state-of-the-art AI cluster in 2026 is projected to need the same amount of power as the entire Hoover Dam. By 2028, it's the power for a medium-sized state. And by 2030, we're talking about a single AI training cluster potentially needing more than 20% of all electricity currently produced in the United States. Just one. This chart really puts it into stark perspective. Look at that. The projected power demand from AI doesn't just represent growth. It completely dwarfs the entire growth of the U.S. electrical grid over the last 10 years combined. We're not just talking about adding a few power plants. This is about fundamentally re-engineering our entire energy infrastructure. So, this brings us to a really crucial turning point in the argument. We've seen the technical path. We've seen the insane industrial scale. But the kind of power we're talking about here, economic, military, societal, it raises a really profound question about who's in charge. Can this kind of power really be wielded by a private company? And the paper's answer is a very emphatic no. The argument is that the sheer power and the strategic importance of superintelligence makes a government-led effort, an AGI project on the same scale as the Manhattan Project, not just a possibility, but an absolute national security imperative. And the reasoning really boils down to two big things: security and scale. On the security front, a startup just can't defend itself against a nation-state trying to steal this tech. And something this powerful, it needs a formal chain of command, not just a CEO. And then on scale, well, the first country to get this has a decisive military advantage. That, plus the trillions of dollars needed, just pushes this whole thing way beyond the private sector and straight into the realm of national mobilization. This quote from the past just draws the parallel perfectly. Building the atomic bomb required a national effort that literally turned the country into one giant factory. And the argument is, building AGI will demand the exact same thing. The sheer scale requires it. So, there you have it. That's the entire cascading logic of the argument, all in one place. AGI by 2027, which triggers an intelligence explosion, which demands a massive industrial mobilization, which ultimately requires a government-led project. Each step leads almost inevitably to the next. And that leaves us with a final, and frankly kind of haunting question that the source material poses. Just for a second, forget whether you think it's likely or unlikely. Just consider the possibility. What if this trajectory is even remotely correct? The implications for all of us, for this decade, are just profound. It suggests we are all in for a very, very wild ride.